From the pit of the all-powerful Sarlacc, it's the IGN Digigods. And now, please welcome the special edition re-release of Wade Major and Mark Kaiser.
So, Mark, how are you getting used to the labs? I have a question for you. First off, most important question of all time. Why is Lou Grant not on DVD?
Lou Grant?
Lou Grant.
That show's terrible.
That show it won Emmys. It won tons of Emmys.
So did, whatever.
Lou Grant's not on DVD.
What made you think of that?
Never has been. I was listening to the radio this morning, and they were saying, 40 years ago today, blah, whatever, 30-some years, the Emmy Awards went to Taxi and Lou Grant. And I thought, Lou Grant, Ed Asner, he's still around. He's still got his back hair. Where is that show?
He did have a lot of back hair.
He still does.
Really?
Oh, my gosh.
Is it Robin Williams-esque?
Oh, is Robin? Please. He puts Robin Williams to shame. He's the original Sasquatch man. I will never forget three things. I have three core memories from attending all of those Battle of the Network Stars that they used to have at Pepperdine University when I was a kid. Remember the Battle of the Network Stars?
Oh, I used to love that show.
It was the best. And I used to go to that because it was, minutes away. And I have three very strong recollections. Number one, I was amazed at how tiny and fragile William Shatner's ankles were.
Okay.
Tiny, like, itty-bitty, little tiny ankles. Like if he were to go skiing, they'd just snap and his feet would come flying off. Number two, Ed Asner took his shirt off and children ran screaming. It was horrifying, the amount of back hair and just hair. It's just unbelievable. Yeah. Ed Asner is just he's simian. It's unbelievable. And then the third, which is a very fond memory, unlike those other two, I remember when with the softball dunk. You remember you pick somebody and they sit on the little platform above the water and you have to throw the softball and you hit the target and it drops them into the dunk.
Yeah, it's like a dunk tank.
I remember Scott Baio was up and he got to pick somebody, and like the marketing genius that he is, he said, I want Heather Thomas and Heather Locklear to sit up there.
Oh my God! It's a hottie sandwich.
But Heather, both Heathers, the Heathers, the Heather
Heather Thomas and Heather Locklear.
Heather Thomas from the Fall Guy, and Heather Locklear from Dynasty, of course, at the time, and he dunked him. And I was standing maybe 7 feet away. It's a memory. It lingers with me. It really is one of those special things from my adolescence. It really is.
And then if you saw a picture of Heather Thomas right now, you would probably run screaming.
Well,
actually, she used to have a house on.
Leave me with my memories, please.
She used to have a house. Maybe she still does on San Vicente. In Santa Monica.
Yeah.
One of those, like when you're going west down San Vicente on the right side of the street.
Sure.
All those gated houses where
she had one of those?
They're all obscured in trees and you can't really tell what they look like.
Reardon has one of those.
Richard Reardon?
Yeah.
Former LA mayor?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Very exciting.
And
all right. Has the show started yet?
Show started.
What?
Yes. By the way, did you hear about the
Well, not that.
Diana, the killer of bus drivers?
Huh?
Have you heard about this?
Diana, my gosh!
In Ciudad Juarez, this has nothing to do with movies. It's just a cool story. Look, I made your glasses fall off. In Ciudad Juarez, the Mexican border town, apparently for years there has been this epidemic of sexual assaults on women because I guess there's a makeup industry or something down there, and they work late, and all these women they have to take buses home at night. And so for years there were like mutilated bodies showing up, and the last note they ever had was that they'd gotten on the bus. And so the thought is that there are all these bus drivers who are just sexually assaulting women. And like last week, on consecutive days, a woman dressed all in black, wearing blonde hair, could be a wig, could be dyed, nobody knows, came up to a bus, started to get on, pulls out a gun, plugs the bus driver twice in the head, kills him. 2 bus drivers dead. And then, like, a note shows up to the press saying, sign saying, we've been taking enough of this. We're going to take matters into our own hands. Women are not as weak as you think. Signed, Diana, Huntress of Bus Drivers.
When you walked in,
it's pretty awesome, right?
When you walked in today, you said, we have so much to talk about.
Yeah, I know.
And yet here we are.
Okay.
Oh, my scone's ready.
Oh, jeez.
Now you can't have the scone.
Okay, fine.
It is because it has bacon in it. And
All right, you
don't
will get the
bacon.
scone. I will just cover a few little tidbits, like, for example, are the winners of our Amour.
Excuse me while I get my scone.
Yeah, you do that. Winners of our Amour DVD giveaway contest: Todd Cassell, Daniel Clark, longtime listeners Mario Mendez and Chevelle Dixon got in there, and Roy Rodriguez. So congratulations, guys, for playing, and congratulations on your new DVDs of Amour, the brilliant Michael Haneke film, Academy Award winner and Cannes Film Festival winner, coming your way, courtesy of Sony Classics. And then also Mario asked us to also give him a plug. His brother Mike's movie, Big Ass Spider, is going to be released in theaters and VOD on the 18th of October. So I know nothing about Big Ass Spider, but Mario, let us know how we can get a copy of that and discuss it on the show if possible. Big Ass Spider. Sounds cool. Good name, good title. Also, just a few little, couple of listener mails worth reading. One from Sean, dear Wade and Mark. Mark, you listening?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. It is with great sadness that I announce I am dying. I'm not sick or anything, but I've reached the age of 50, and like my father, who died at the age of 94, I can feel the icy fingers of the Grim Reaper approaching. I might have another 44 years. I just don't know. My final wish is to recommend a movie to the two of you, as you have both recommended so many to me. My three favorite movies that I can watch over and over again are Ed Wood, Up in the Air, and The Last Man, starring Jerry Ryan and David Arnott. The disc sells for 84 cents to $12 on Amazon, or you could put it in your Netflix queue, or you could ask J.J. Abrams to get it for you for your birthday. Seriously, it's a great little movie, and don't you love watching great little movies that no one else knows about? Have to go now, feel a sharp pain. I love that email. Thank you, Sean. You know what? I have never heard of the movie, but I checked it out, and Last Man looks like it's got all kinds of great comments on Amazon, and it's one of those little discoveries that might be worth taking a look at. And then also, yes?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
Keep going.
All right. And then we also got an email from Al in San Francisco. Stop or ignore me if my emails are wearing you out. Your opinions on Peter Bogdanovich's adaptation of Daisy Miller. I'm not only moved by the work itself, especially its last fade-to-white scene, but also genuinely impressed or inspired by Peter Bogdanovich's deliberate, near-selfish maneuver to follow up his more mainstream What's Up, Doc and Paper Moon with this Merchant Ivory-ish project when it wasn't quite the art house fashion until the early 1980s. Bogdanovich got absolutely no love from audiences or critics for the film. A common but erroneous accusation was that he took liberties with Henry James's dialogue and modernized it. But he did nothing of the kind. In fact, in terms specifically of brave, singular, unwavering, inspiring career decisions, I regard two specific Bogdanovich projects equally with John Cassavetes' entire auteur oeuvre. Wong Kar-wai's Happy Together, Floyd Muttrick's Dusty and Sweets McGee, Frank Capra's The Bitter Tea of General Yen, Peter Watkins' entire career, Daisy Miller, and the criminally overlooked obscure St. Jack.
You realize who starred in Daisy Miller?
Yeah.
Eileen Brennan, who died recently.
Oh my gosh, that's right. You know, and you will be able to put that microphone back on your person at some point.
Well, I have to get my scone.
Go get your scone. But anyway, no, it's true. And then, of course, he wants to know if St. Jack is going to come up in a cleaned-up version. I wouldn't bank on it anytime super soon, but St. Jack is part of the Corman collection. So at some point, Corman's going to get around to releasing a Blu-ray of that through Shout Factory, probably, which is their new contract. As for Daisy Miller, you know what? I think it's an okay film, but I think Sybil Shepherd is weak in it. Good. I mean, it's a good movie. You know, Henry James, you can't go wrong. But Sybil Shepherd is the weak link there for me. But you know, I think it's certainly an interesting choice for Bogdanovich. A lot of people love it. What can I say? All right, you want to get your scone, and I'll start off on some television.
Yes, people want to hear DVD
fine.
recommendations. Where you're wasting our time with the woman who shot the guy in the bus or something.
I know. Diana, Huntress of Bus Drivers. It's going to be a graphic novel next week. We've got just a friggin' crap load of television, and a lot of this arrived like in the last 48 hours. And so I'm going to be honest, we have not had ample time to look at much of this, but we've just given a cursory look to some of it, some of the extras. But man, this is just a gigantic, massive pile of television because so much of this stuff is coming back on with the new seasons. So we're gonna blow through this and get you all set up. Scandal, big deal on ABC. From Shonda Rhimes, who of course created Grey's Anatomy. This is her new hit, which apparently is now bigger than Grey's Anatomy ever was. So Shonda Rhimes is like A-list showrunner now. That woman can put anything on television that she wants. Pretty great. This is the complete second season of Scandal, and you know what? It's scandalous. The whole political thing that it's got going on, you know, it's politics and sex. What can I tell you? And it's really made Kerry Washington quite a star. The woman had a really good career going, kind of, you know, as playing wives and girlfriends and whatnot. Shonda Rhimes stuck her in this show. Man, she is through the roof. She is all over the place now. So she's on magazine covers. She's a big deal.
Smell that.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Smells like bacon. Smells. What does that have on it? Onions, bacon.
It
peppers?
has everything that is delicious in the world.
You're a strange man. Anyway, bonus features here on this. And by the way, Tony Goldwyn, this kind of resurrected his career too. He was like the horrible person in Ghost for a long time. He directed a couple of movies that went nowhere, and now he's like he's the shiznit. Anyway, bonus features here. Mostly featurette-y stuff, and an extended finale, some deleted scenes and outtakes that I took a look at. Did not impress me enormously, but it's Scandal. What do you want? People love it. They love this show, Mark.
You know what? People do love the show.
Okay.
And you know what? I'm starting to hear more good things about Orange is the New Black, which I haven't checked out yet.
Neither have I, but, Women in Prison, I still remember the...
You're thinking Corman.
I'm thinking Prisoner Cell Block H. You remember that? It was like the soap opera. The Women in Prison soap opera. It was kind of like a Mary Hartman with like kind of...
Is Mary Hartman on DVD?
It's coming out, the complete series.
Really?
Yes, just announced like 4 days ago.
How about Fernwood Tonight?
No, not yet. Eventually. Castle, another ABC show. This is now out in its complete 5th season. I never in a million years would have imagined that this show would be sticking around this long. Basically Castle does that thing that Glenn Gordon Caron excelled at for so long with Remington Steele and Moonlighting and countless other shows. And that's fine. It's the tension between the two characters. It is it's fun. A lot of good banter on this show. And same with the bonus features here. It's deleted scenes, bloopers, some audio commentaries, bunch of featurettes. And then moving along, Army Wives is now in its 7th season, which is another thing that kind of blows my mind. Lloyd shot a bunch of these.
Really?
I think he still does, yeah. And honestly, 7 seasons of Army Wives? Like, how did that sneak in there?
Well, I mean, look, how good does Army Wives have to do in order to get picked up?
I don't know.
Probably does very well probably does very well in the South.
Well, but that's the thing. I mean, it's an ABC show, so it's like, the demands for the network shows, because their saturation is so much greater, are huge compared to things like AMC. AMC doesn't have to get ridiculous numbers watching its shows, yet they do. There's a lesson there. I don't know what it is. Anyway, not much by way of extras here, just bloopers and deleted scenes. That's a little disappointing. But anyway, there it is. Army Wives. My goodness. Yeah, Army Wives. It's been around forever. Okay, let's talk for a second about Sons of Anarchy. Season 5. This includes the exclusive Creator's Cut extended episodes. Creator's Cut. Not Director's Cut, Creator's Cut.
Now, you
because
realize...
it's a showrunner thing.
You realize who that show stars?
Yes.
Charlie Hunnam.
Charlie Hunnam, who was so awesome as the Joker when he won an Oscar in The Dark Knight.
He was.
He was good.
He was.
He was good.
I admit it.
Okay, Mark, why don't you tell us the real reason that Charlie Hunnam, the Heath Ledger lookalike, is now a big deal?
Because he's going to play Christian Grey in the film adaptation of 50 Shades of Grey.
I could not be more disinterested. And the woman who's playing the female lead is that hag who was created by the unholy union of Melanie Griffith and.
But that girl's beautiful.
I'm being funny.
Oh, good.
Thank you. Melanie Griffith and Don Johnson. That's their daughter.
It is their daughter. I have no interest because I have no interest
You know
in
what
the book,
freaks me out? You know what freaks me out is I remember an interview with Don Johnson where he was saying, well, you know, my little girl asked me the other day, Daddy, are we rich? And I thought for a second, I better say, no, we're not. And then it just dawned on me, I'm like, holy crap, that little girl is now going to be doing nasty things, and I feel violated.
Look.
I don't care about that. Why is everybody all hot and bothered about that?
Because that things that with a segment of the population we're not, that thing was a phenomenon.
Why?
It's like Twilight. We don't get Twilight, but a segment of the population we're not.
Why?
Was obsessed with it.
Because it's dirty?
Yes, it tapped into that middle-aged woman malaise, 7-year itch, whatever thing.
Whatever.
And, it was incredibly sexy.
Fine. Well, Charlie Hunnam, Sons of Anarchy. And you know what? I mean, it's a well-done show. I've never really gotten this show. Kurt Sutter created it, and he did a whole bunch. This is a little more raw than it is when it shows up on FX. But it's well done. It's an interesting idea. The whole biker gang thing. Everybody gets to be grungy and dirty, and I'm sure they probably have a ridiculous. There he is. There he is. Look.
He is so dreamy.
He's Heath Ledger. He is. He's a Heath Ledger lookalike. But again, not exactly my deal. But this is on Blu-ray, and it is good looking Blu-ray. Also, really good looking Blu-ray is the complete first season of Sinbad, which is a BBC show that kind of attempts to do the it's the fantasy thing that everybody's all hot and bothered about. And it's not exactly the Sinbad of lore. But it kind of does a good job of going where shows like, the Game of Thrones and Rome and a lot of the kind of the mythological, exotic locale shows have gone. They do a good job of it. It's really high production value. Some great acting. Writing leaves a little bit to be desired, but it's set in the 8th century of Arabia with a lot of people who are clearly not Arabs, and it's all right. So that's Sinbad, complete first season. Oh, extras. Very little. 3 featurettes. That's it. Done. Mark.
Enlightened might have won Laura Dern a Golden Globe, but it didn't earn a 3rd season.
Nope.
So we have the complete 2nd season of Enlightened on DVD, not Blu-ray.
Yeah.
The only thing I did like about this show is that I like the cast. I like Mike White, right? Who doesn't like Mike White?
Oh, no, I like Mike White.
Jonathan Demme directed a couple of these. Nicole Holofcener.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
Nicole Holofcener has a new film coming out on the 20th. It's the James Gandolfini deal. His last film.
Is that right?
Yep.
So there's some good pedigree on the show. It never really... the problem with HBO shows is that they either have to be amazing or they fall off the radar.
I know.
There's no middle ground.
No.
There's no little engine that could sort of HBO show anymore.
No.
They got to be phenomenons like Game of Thrones or Sopranos, or that's it.
Yeah, no, 6 Feet Under, or no, that's true. The HBO stuff, it's got to be a home run. If it's just an average HBO show, people are like, well, then why am I getting HBO? I could watch an average show on FX or AMC.
We were talking about The Big Bang Theory before the show.
Yes, we were. You don't get it.
I was saying, this show is terrible. I just think the show is dreadful. The writing is dreadful. I don't get it. I don't know why people laugh.
I know.
It seems like when I watch this show, it just seems like these are the scripts that would be cranked out by first-year TV screenwriting students.
I know. I agree with you.
It's a Mr. Spock joke. They're dressed like Smurfs. It's a Star Trek thing. They're doing a Star Trek thing. What's Star Trek thing?
I know.
The worst. And the whole thing with the Jim Parsons, whatever, he's fine, and I just think this show's terrible.
I know.
The complete 6th season is on DVD. A couple good special features if you like the show, which of course I don't. But you know what? The Paley Fest thing is good. Here in Beverly Hills, they have a museum of television.
Yes.
And every year they have this thing called the Paley Fest. And the Paley Fest, you get all the stars and all the showrunners and the writers from these shows. They do a whole big song and dance about it's like a Q&A and
Sure.
a speech, and they get up on stage, they talk about their show, the whole thing, and that can be very interesting. These guys, of course, don't deserve that sort of honor, but they got it, and it's on the DVD. Anyway, I like the show.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Mark, I'm going to talk about some old classic television here for a second. Everything else that we're talking about today is new school, but this is old school. First off, I've got a Blu-ray here. This is Star Trek Origins, the original series. Kirk, Spock, Pike, Khan, Klingons, Tribbles.
Spock.
It's real stretch. Clearly, this is being released to pump something else we'll be talking about this week, which is Star Trek Into Darkness 3D. And there's some controversy with that we will get into. But clearly they were like, oh gosh, there's a thing to do with the Star Trek Into Darkness. Maybe we can try to piggyback that and, I don't know, let's see if we can peddle a disc from the old series that talks about Origins, one of which kind of ties in. But let's not be so obvious that it gets ahead of us. So, one of these things ties in with Star Trek Into Darkness. Is it Kirk? Is it Spock? Well, clearly. But what about the others?
It's Spurk.
Pike? Well, he was in the last film. Khan? Maybe. Klingons? Tribbles? I don't know. Anyway, so yes, you get the Cage, which is the pilot that was eventually folded into the Menagerie, Where No Man Has Gone Before, Space Seed, Errand of Mercy, and The Trouble with Tribbles. And I think that is an utterly bizarre collection of episodes to just throw onto a random disc.
It's basically every original episode you need to see in order to understand Into Darkness.
Yes, but it's also just a random bunch of episodes that really don't belong together.
Yeah, but it's Star Trek.
Silly. Just silly. Anyway. Nonsense. Twilight Zone 5th season, out again. This is, again, Image is releasing these things in short order to get them out in chronological order. And 36 episodes from the phenomenal 5th season, and some really great stuff in here. It's just amazing.
I don't know why you would buy these DVDs when you can just buy the Blu-ray for
well, because
the same
some
price.
people don't have a Blu-ray player. You know, this is more affordably priced. It's out again for people who have never seen any of these. Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, love it. William Shatner flipping out Gremlin on the wing, awesome. A Kind of Stopwatch, oh my gosh, that's so good.
God, I love these films. They're
Living
so good.
Doll, Living Doll. Remember Living Doll?
Yeah, it's Talking Tina.
Oh, I'm talking Tina.
Slice
I'm
of olives.
going to murder you. And I Am the Night, Color Me Black. The Masks. Remember The Masks? The guy who's reading his will and he's dead, and everybody puts the masks on, and then it like shows their inner self, and it distorts their faces. So wicked awesome.
Wait, just read every episode title off the bat.
Okay, fine. Anyway, some really good episodes there. Good stuff. Fun stuff.
The Office season 9, Wade.
And then, Office season 9. Talk.
Wait a minute.
I was gonna mention.
Is that what I think it is?
Yes, it is.
Are you kidding me?
The complete fourth season of 8 is Enough, which is out from Warner Archive. Warner Archive. You know, a lot of the Warner Brothers produced stuff that is just kind of, they figure nobody remembers this show, so they put out a lot of these shows.
I remember this show.
8 is
oh
Enough.
My God.
Yeah. So I didn't even read.
Dick Van Patten.
This has been out. They've been kind of blowing these out from Warner Archive for a couple of years, and I wasn't even aware of it. So yeah, there we go.
Now, did you know that the first two were even out?
No, I didn't. I had no idea. I had no clue. That's why I recommend that people go to Warner Archive and see what they've got on TV there, because some of your favorite TV shows that you might have assumed have not been put out, if they were created or produced by Warner Brothers, they may very well be out. So you got to go to
1977 to 1981.
WarnerArchive.com. Got to go check it out and see what's out there. There's a lot of other cool stuff out there. Anyway, but yeah, 8 is Enough, man. That show was the biggest deal for the longest time.
I used to watch this show.
And
it was terrible. These shows are all terrible. I bet it'd be agony to watch this.
Dick Van Patten is a master thespian, and I will not have you badmouth him on this show.
Willie Ames, Adam Rich was the.
I know.
He was like kind of the younger generations, like
That's right.
Gary Coleman, short, weird guy. And Adam Rich. Let's see. How old is Adam? He was so cute back then.
Yeah, he ain't cute no more.
Personal life.
No, he's messed up now.
He currently occasionally makes personal appearances and is marketing script ideas for TV shows and films.
Yeah.
In 2002, he was arrested for drunk driving.
Yeah.
He's been in drug rehab 3 times.
Anyway, so 8 is Enough. The complete fourth season, parts 1 and 2 shrink wrap together. And Willie Ames, a lot before he did the Scott Baio deal. And Dick Van Patten, who's just, he's a mighty force of nature, Dick Van Patten. Not a bad show at all. It wasn't a bad show. I mean, it's kind of cheesy when you watch it now, but
it's like watching the Waltons. Actually, the Waltons. I bet the Waltons is good only because it's probably pretty.
Waltons is really good.
Timelessly.
It is
lame. It was lame then. It's probably lame now. Just
okay,
just timelessly lame.
All right, Office, bro.
The Office season 9. This is the final season of the show. We finally get to see the documentary that they spent 8 years doing. The show, I have to say, was kind of running out of steam at this point. It's mostly about the relationship between what's her name and what's his name. You can quote me on that, by the way.
Okay.
You want to watch the other night? I watched the final episode of Futurama.
Oh yeah.
Futurama was canceled finally.
I know.
After 9 seasons.
Did they meet the Jetsons?
No.
Okay.
And I have to say that the final episode not that great. I think the show has officially run out of steam, and it just comes grinding to a halt in the last episode, which was not that funny, and it was not even that melancholy or sad, which the show surprisingly is good at, which is being pretty emotional, getting to its characters, and having these kind of emotional moments. The show's surprisingly good at that, but this final episode of Futurama was not that great. Anyway, The Office season 9. If you've got all 8 at this point, you might as well get the 9th. There's a blooper reel. There's some cast farewells, which is kind of nice. There's some audition tapes that they dug out of the archives. So there you go. You get to see what's his name and what's her name get married.
Yeah, that's nice. Fantastic.
Grey's Anatomy. You were just talking about Shonda Rhimes.
Yeah.
And now Sandra Oh has left this show.
Yeah.
I remember when McDreamy, what's his name, McDreamy? I remember when he said that the only reason he does the show is because car racing is really expensive. Because he has this car racing hobby. He's like, the only reason I do the show is because car racing is really expensive and I need to work. And that really pissed off a lot of the fans of the show.
You know what? Too bad.
Awesome.
Too bad.
Anyway,
I was with this show for a few seasons, and then it was just McSteamy, McDreamy. It got old.
Yeah, you know what? There's a lot of lab coats and
sex.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Vampire Diaries. Here's 3 shows that actually go perfectly well together. Vampire Diaries is in its 4th season, and which means they're in senior year now. Woo, senior year! I don't know where this is going to go now. It's just beautiful. A lot of beautiful people who are vampires are turning into vampires. I guess if I were to watch every single episode of this damn show and kind of try to get the vibe, it would probably kind of soak in, and I'd love it. But it just strikes me as yet another one of these kind of CWE shows where it's a lot of beautiful people and we're still trying to ride the vampire sexy bandwagon. I just don't get it. It just is not compelling to me. There are a ton of featurettes on here, and they are all geared toward people who just think these actors are totally important, and they're all meaningless to me. So again, I'm not totally into it, but I will tell you the combo pack, Blu-ray, DVD, and Ultraviolet, so that you can make this thing follow you around everywhere and carry it on every device that you want and watch it on your damn phone on the bus or on the plane or whatever. It's really nicely done. The Ultraviolet is really first rate, and I've been trying to look at more of the Ultraviolet stuff. Also, really, really impressive on the Ultraviolet end. Another one of these CW shows, Supernatural, 8th season. More coming back again for its 9th season on the CW. And this is just yet another one of those shows. It's just beautiful people and genre storytelling, and I don't get it. It's not interesting to me. But that being said, the featurettes here are better, much more involved. So they put higher production effort into these featurettes, and the Ultraviolet looks absolutely pristine. And then lastly, another show on a great Blu-ray DVD Ultraviolet combo pack with first-rate Ultraviolet and really, really great-looking Blu-ray is Revolution, first season. And I don't like the show. I think it's kind of this is a JJ show. And it's a little bit, it's a little bit cheesy. It's post-apocalyptic cheesy. It's like they said, why don't we do a thing with Lost, except the world has ended? Well, I mean, they try hard to give it production value, but it still strikes me as just kind of soapy and cheesy. And
do you think JJ's richer than God?
I know. So anyway,
Star Wars and Star Trek.
They've got some stuff on the creating of the thing.
Somebody we went to school with.
A bit on the pilot, and then
Star
there's
Wars
an exclusive on the Blu-ray.
Can you imagine if they gave him James Bond too?
From the 2013 Paley Fest.
We just talked about the Paley Fest.
Yeah. They should give him James Bond. Why not?
Can you imagine if he does every single gigantic franchise ever?
Let him do Avengers. Give him James Bond, Avengers, Star Wars, Star Trek. What else can we give him? Rocky. Let him do the next Rocky film.
Okay.
Let him do Rocky in
There's
space.
going to be another Rocky film.
Let him do Rocky in space. Alien versus Predator versus Rocky versus
See, you know when they did
Terminator.
that?
Terminator.
Oh, you give him the Terminator.
And Alien.
An Alien. Give
Why
him the
not?
Terminator, Alien, Star Wars, Star Trek, James Bond.
Yeah. Why not? He can do 2 movies a year.
We went to school with him.
And Avengers. Let him do it. Rock on.
The League, complete 4th season. This is the FX show about guys, men, and their rotisserie football
Yes.
league. This is obviously meant for... You know what? There's an interesting trend going on in sitcoms, which is sitcoms about men.
Yes.
There's actually a sitcom coming out next couple weeks called... I think it's called We Are Men.
Yes.
And then there was the one that had the one sheet that was a ripoff of The Hangover.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of that show. I think it was on NBC.
Right.
That thing flamed out. So suddenly it's like the moment of the men to have their own sitcoms.
Oh,
Maybe
well,
because
good.
they realize that sitcoms are probably seen a lot mostly by women.
Wonderful.
And they want to bring more men into the sitcom fold.
Of course.
They've already crunched those numbers. This has cult show written all over it. I come from this rotisserie world, although I haven't been part of a rotisserie league for a long time. But I get it. These guys are, they're lovable losers. They're always the butt of the joke, which is kind of fun. So there's some good stuff in it. And the good thing is that the one thing I do like about the show is that it doesn't try to get too overly sitcom-y. Mm-hmm. It sort of lets things, even though it's kind of crass, a lot of the jokes are crass, a bunch of bros talking about their genitals and whatever.
Yeah.
It's not all that like ba-dum-bum, which I kind of appreciate. But this thing has cult all over it, and the new season premieres in October on FX. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, now in its 7,000th season.
I've never enjoyed this show, and I know it kind of got on the air in a fluke. It was like they shot something on VHS and then transferred it to Beta and sent it to somebody via courier, and somebody saw it and said, "That's damn funny. Let's make a show out of it." I don't know.
That's what it is. That's what happened.
Yeah.
I actually went to I don't know why I went to this. I think I was bored because I hadn't really seen the show at this time. But I went to a talk with the makers of the show, including some of these guys who starred in the original YouTube video. And they said that Danny DeVito did it because he wanted to. It wasn't like they got on TV because somebody knew Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito wasn't somebody's uncle. It was just it either came to them. I forgot either through their agency or whatever it was, and Danny just wanted to do it. Because Danny DeVito had not done a sitcom since pretty much since Taxi. Mm-hmm. And here he is doing this show, and he's stuck with it, and the show moves along. People love it.
Well,
you know what it is? Some networks are okay with small, rabid followings.
I would prefer that Danny DeVito not do that show and go back to directing movies.
Yes, like Throw Mama from the Train, and
like the Michael Douglas War of the Roses.
War of the Roses,
oh my
hilarious.
gosh, it's a great movie.
Or even producing. Look, if it wasn't for him, like
I know.
Get Shorty, because Jersey Films was back in the day.
I know.
Huge company doing great films.
Got 3 shows here that are all about the people who take our tax dollars and are paid with them, who get public pensions. You know what? If you're really upset that Rescue Me, the Dennis Leary firefighter show that kind of was a big deal after 9/11, that ended its decade-long run, and you're thinking, I got to have me some firefighter. I got to have some firefighter TV. What am I going to do? Well, you know what? Dick Wolf to the rescue, because Dick Wolf has given us season 1 of Chicago Fire. And it comes back on NBC momentarily. And you know what? Damn it, Dick Wolf, you somehow you keep striking gold, because this is actually one of his better shows. Even though I am not sick of Law & Order, having seen every single episode 975,000 times, because that's what you do when your wife's pregnant. And you just sit around waiting and waiting and waiting every single day for the baby to come, and you just watch whatever episode of Law and Order is on television at any given hour of the day, because there are 9 networks that are always showing Law and Order all day long, every day.
Let me tell you something. So yesterday, this is a part of Mark that I have not admitted, and I admitted it to you today.
Do it.
Yesterday, for the first time in my life, you're all going to be flabbergasted. I got a DVR.
Yeah.
Never had a DVR.
Well, it's not like you've ever needed one.
So I got a DVR. Of course, the DVR doesn't frickin' work. It's not recording shows, and I don't know what I'm going to do now because it's a pain in the ass. But anyway, so I got the TV on for like 2 hours trying to figure this thing out, which I still have not figured out. And there's a Law and Order on, just on the random channel.
There always is. Like I said, there's 9 channels that are always showing Law and Order at any given time.
I had never really seen a Law and Order. It's just not my thing. and it looks so formulaic. Like that. Who's the guy? Chris Noth? Is that a Chris Noth?
Yeah, he's one of them. He's one of the 97 detectives on the show.
He's at some furniture store and he's looking at the hinge on the on the little drawer. He
That's
goes,
what they do.
Look, this is a Meridian 7 hinge. Excuse me, furniture lady, can you please? Who manufactures drawers with a Meridian 5000 hinge? Oh, well, there's only 3 manufacturers in the greater New York area that manufacture with a Meridian 5000 hinge.
I know.
And then he just goes off and does his thing.
That's police work. That's what they do.
It was like a close-up of his little hand going over the hinge.
Yeah.
Look, what is this hinge? It's a Meridian hinge.
This is why I always enjoyed the cop shows that we grew up with back in the day. And I'm going to say back in the day so I don't actually say the decade. But you know what I'm talking about. When Starsky and Hutch, you know how they did police work? They bust some chops. You know how Baretta would do police work? He busted his wife's chops eventually, but he'd like dress up like a woman and put a parrot on his shoulder and do all kinds of interesting. How'd Magnum do it? He'd call TC and they'd fly around in a chopper and he'd drive a Ferrari. I mean, come on, screw the police work. Give me some fun stuff.
Now they stare at hinges.
That's
what they do now. They stare at hinges. That's how they solve the crime.
Anyway, speaking of, now that we've gone totally afield, Chicago Fire Season 1, good show. Let's see where it goes in subsequent seasons. Not a lot here. There are some behind-the-scenes things and Otis's podcasts. And here's what I think is really cheesy. All of Universal's shows, their whole... You know what Universal has a website for their shows now. You know what the URL is? It's like, come on, Universal, seriously? This is what you... Who came up with this? GreatTVShows.com. But not just great TV shows, it's great-TV-shows.com. Worst URL ever. Get rid of that.
Right now, I'm going to go to greattvshows.com without the hyphen.
Okay, more public service people. Parks and Recreation, Season 5. You know what? This show has never quite worked for me. I love everyone on this show, but it still just strikes me like all these like pseudo documentary format things that have all ripped off The Office, and that includes Modern Family, even though everybody loves it. It's the same problem for me. I just still feel like this is that same deal. And there are some
GreatTVShows.com is it's obnoxious. It's some URL where people squat or somebody's squatting, but great-tv-shows.com is universal.
Yeah. So anyway, Parks and Recreation, Amy Poehler, always great. Everything else in the show, a little bit uneven. There's some great stuff with Patton Oswalt in this season. I mean, really just classic stuff. And tons and tons of deleted scenes and extras on this thing, hour and a half that you'll never get through. But the main reason for this is the Patton Oswalt filibuster episode. That is on this season, and it is the Citizen Filibuster, where he just ad-libs that whole Star Wars spiel. Fantastic. That's great TV, even if the rest of the season's a little uneven. And then Cops. We always got to have a good cop show. Blue Bloods, 3rd season. Speaking of Magnum P.I., that damn Tom Selleck does not age. I just do not know what the deal is. But I love Donnie Wahlberg. I love Tom Selleck. The show is surprisingly decent. And, third season in, I've seen enough episodes to kind of, get the chemistry and the familial relationships and all that junk. And you know what? It's pretty decent. It's a pretty decent show. So this is going to be around for a while, I have a feeling. Tom Selleck just anchors these shows with a calm and a cool reserve. The guy is he's a pillar. He's just a freaking pillar. And then a couple more. I'm going to let Mark dwell on the show that he loves so much. But Spartacus, War of the Damned from Starz, they have kept this Spartacus train going for so long. It's not my favorite show, but it is awfully well done, and it really is really well done. And when you see it on Blu-ray, it looks so much better than it does in broadcast on Starz. Just you can tell they really put they really piled some money into this show. It still feels a little bit too much to me, like 300, the TV series. But that being said, there's some very good stuff in it, and some great bonus features here. Excellent featurettes that are like little mini documentaries. They did more than EPK stuff. And on the Blu-ray version, you get some really good audio commentaries and episodes that are longer than they normally are on Starz, which is what we call an extended episode. Last of television, Mark, wrap us out.
Thank goodness.
Yes.
Wade, we have Haven.
Oh, thank
Haven
goodness.
is a sci-fi show, which means that it is one of those weird Canadian-American co-productions that nobody understands, and they seem like regular American shows, but just a little more retarded.
Yeah.
Like they're almost like the slow-witted cousin of the smart guy.
Yeah.
That's what Canadian American shows are. Mm-hmm. But anyway, but Haven, if nothing else, it is based on a Stephen King novel, which is cool. And of course, it's all about every Stephen King book is about strange events in a small town.
I know.
That's what he does.
I know.
Now here, the strange events in a small town is it's in Maine.
Okay. You know what? That's why Stephen King, Mark, look me in the eyes. Look me in the eyes. Stephen King's my main man. You looked away.
Wait, what does that mean?
It's a show set in Maine.
Who are you?
I don't know. Okay.
Anyway, there's an FBI agent played by that, I forgot her name, the pretty girl, Emily Rose. And she winds up in Maine, and there's all sorts of supernatural stuff going on. She's got to figure it out. So, I just don't understand. These shows seem like a dime a dozen, and Haven is one of them. You can always kind of tell which characters and which storylines have that sort of Stephen King creativity, twist, coolness to it, and then which one is like the writers who think they're Stephen King but they're not, trying to fill out a whole season. Bonus features include a documentary on the making of the show and some interviews, and there you go.
Yep.
Not a big fan of Haven.
No. All right, Mark, we're going to talk about new movies now. I'm going to let you start the conversation. Now, first of all, we're going to talk about Star Trek Into Darkness 3D, which we have in a Blu-ray 3D, Blu-ray, DVD, digital copy, ultraviolet combo deal. Everything is piled onto this. And you think, oh my gosh, it's great, I got to go out and get it. It's got the Blu-ray 3D on one, and the regular Blu-ray on another, and the feature film on DVD on a third disc, and it's got all these great extras. Oh my gosh, what extras does it have? Well, they're totally copying to the Khan thing. So this is no longer a secret now. They assume the secret's out, so we can just declare to everybody that Benedict Cumberbatch plays Khan, even though there's nothing about him that looks anything remotely like Ricardo Montalban. But
well, I don't think it's necessary for him to look like Ricardo Montalban. I think that's optional.
But at least be the whole point of.
By the way, people who love Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
They have names now. Big fans of Benedict Cumberbatch.
Cumberbitch?
They call him Cumberbitches.
Yeah.
That's like a real thing.
Well, first of all, let's just point out, but he is going to be, this is his year, right? This is a big deal for him. I mean, the guy's been kind of on the cusp for a little while. Sherlock has had him in a good place. But between Star Trek and then end of the year, he is in both 12 Years a Slave, which is getting just mind-boggling reaction out of Telluride and Toronto. It's through the roof. People are nuts. I mean, this thing could walk away with like everything. But there are a number of movies. But he's not only in that. He's in the other movie that people think could walk away with everything, which is the Fifth Estate,
which is not getting good reviews.
Where he plays Julian Assange,
which, by the way, is not getting very good reviews out of
I saw some
Toronto.
great ones.
Really?
Great ones. Yeah.
Interesting. I think Rotten Tomatoes has like a 36% now.
Well, a lot. It's because WikiLeaks is controversial. So I think a lot of people are importing their WikiLeaks. Is it accurate? What's it doing? What's it not doing? It's not kind of condemning the people it should condemn and praising the people it should praise. It's like hey man, I trust Bill Condon. Anyway, Mark, your opinion of the movie. Yeah. Exactly. Now,
here's the thing. I'm willing to go with what JJ's done with this universe. It doesn't have to be my Star Trek, as long as it's a Star Trek I can enjoy. But the issue is always the same thing, which is that JJ is such a slave to his influences.
Yep.
And whether it's Super 8 or anything, or Cloverfield or anything else he's done, that now we have a movie where he is trying so hard to give fans who don't know the old Khan their version and give older folks the old Khan and little winks and nods to the old movie. You're really trying to... You can't make a new movie by surreptitiously, cleverly copying the old movie. Either make a new movie or remake the old movie. You can't have it both.
Or when they were baiting everybody about what this was going to be, it was going to be something referential. I think a lot of people felt like, oh my gosh, they're going back to the original series. They're going to give us Gary Mitchell, right? It's going to be, you thought it was Gary Mitchell. A lot of people thought, oh, Gary Mitchell. Well, then when you're not going all the way back to something cool like that, and you're just kind of doing a quasi remake of The Wrath of Khan, that's like, oh, really? That's lame.
That's the thing.
You got expectations all hooked that they were going to do something really cool referential, and they wound up doing something kind of meh referential.
Yeah, and you know what? it's so exciting and like it's so fast cut and moves so fast and it's so action filled. And it's almost like I need some character here too. Don't forget.
Yeah. And I will say it's a gorgeous Blu-ray, and it is they really just did a beautiful, beautiful job with it. However, the extras, the featurettes on there's some controversy about this. And those who've been kind of following this was posted actually on the Facebook page as well. A guy at the Digital Bits was alerted to this fact by a lot of fans, a lot of readers, who pointed out that there are, it's like, wait, where's the commentary by JJ? Did JJ not do a commentary? Oh, he did. He did do a commentary. But that commentary is only available, like, on the iTunes download. And then there are other featurettes that are more extensive documentaries that are only available with the Amazon exclusive, and then others with the Best Buy. They took all of these extras, and they split them up. So if you want to actually get all the added value material, you actually have to double dip this thing quintuple times. And you've got to go to the Amazon and the Best Buy and the Target version and the iTunes download, and then you got to buy the Blu-ray, Blu-ray 3D DVD digital copy ultraviolet combo, and then eventually, after you've spent $850,000, you've now got the movie 5 times, and you now have all the extras. That blows, man. That's really uncool. Why would Paramount do that? Well, I emailed our contact who handles all the Paramount stuff, and I said, I'm sure you're aware of this story. It's going a little bit viral. Would you mind seeing if you can get a statement from Paramount? That was a week and a half ago. Nothing.
Because Paramount, much like Disney, they don't care what we think.
Yeah.
They'll put stuff out in cardboard packaging in a broken spindle, and you got to live with it.
Yeah, well,
as long as they make their money.
There we go.
So Star Wars. So Star Trek Into Darkness, what are we saying? We're saying that
you know what?
It has great surface sheen. It's very exciting. Lots of stuff going on. But ultimately, it's such a slave to Star Trek 2 that either remake Star Trek 2 or make another movie, because I just got... Even as somebody who reveres Star Trek 2 and saw it 8 times when it came out and has seen that movie more times than anybody and got every single reference, even then I'm like, you know what? I'm not seeing this movie so that I can be tickled and pleased by your little references. I want to see a standalone movie. So it was distracting.
Real quickly, got 3 more space movies, as long as we're on the Star Trek vibe. 3 more space movies I'm going to make quick mention of. Scavengers, new from Image, straight-to-video thing, about rival mercenary teams in space. It's kind of doing the Alien thing. It's taking most of its stylistic cues and its narrative cues from movies like Alien and Aliens, and you can feel that. And it's not big budget. It's kind of got like sci-fi TV level production value. But you know what? It's surprisingly engaging. Got some good people in here. Sean Patrick Flannery, who I always like as an actor, and Jeremy London, whom I always liked as an actor. And I was like, that's a pretty decent cast, and they've grown up well, so not bad. Directed by a guy named Travis Zarimwini. And I gotta say, Travis, dude, you gotta, I don't know, change that name or make sure that you hit it so big that people know exactly how to pronounce it, because I sure as hell don't. But anyway, good little sci-fi action there. And then Stranded is a low-budget sci-fi film with Christian Slater. This is straight-up Alien ripoff in every conceivable way. It's about a U.S. moon base. And
Moonbase Alpha?
It's just no, not nearly that nice. Christian Slater runs a moon base. There's like 5 people there, and there's a meteor storm, and then next thing you know, there's like an alien creature that's invading them and taking over one guy and doing nasty, gross things. And it's just really, really weak. It's not like Moon, the Sam Rockwell deal. It doesn't have that production value. It doesn't have that intensity or that kind of intellect. It is just a straight up rip off of Alien. Directed, however, by that mighty artist, Roger Christian. Roger Christian, the Roger Christian who directed Battlefield Earth?
Battlefield Earth.
Yeah. He's an outstanding cineast. He's an auteur. And then lastly, from the Doomsday series, is Delete, with Seth Green in it. This is from Guillaume Vivendi on Blu-ray. And it's trying to be kind of a cyber era paranoid sci-fi thriller, and it tries to escalate Seth Green to the level of an action star, and no, this doesn't really work. It's kind of nuclear fear, cyberpunk. It doesn't make an awful lot of sense, but if you're a Seth Green fan, I guess you'll be totally into it. Also, who shows up in this thing is Matt Frewer. Haven't seen him forever.
He was in Watchmen.
Of course, he was.
He was.
Yeah, like movie. I remember that.
He was.
Okay.
Yeah, my fault. He was in the Watchmen movie. The English Teacher is on Blu-ray. This is with Julianne Moore, Greg Kinnear, Nathan Lane. And, it's one of those movies about, it's supposed to be, it's kind of cutesy. Julianne Moore plays this spinster teacher in a small town. She's an English teacher, and one of her star pupils goes to New York to become a playwright, fails, and then returns to the small town. And it's a little bit cutesy. It's kind of like it's almost like watching Glee or something. It's one of those sorts of. The tone is kind of something like that. I mean, any Julianne Moore lead performance is a gift, and that's great. But I kind of feel like this thing is just so thin. If you want to see a movie about a teacher, an oddball teacher in a small town, you really got to watch Wonder Boys with Michael Douglas and Tobey Maguire. That's a terrific film. Curtis Hanson, I love that film.
I don't love it as much as a lot of people, but it's a good film.
It's just so terrific.
Yeah.
I think The English Teacher wanted to be something like Wonder Boys, but in the end, not going to happen.
Yeah.
So there you go. A little too cutesy for me.
All right. We got a thing here that some of our listeners are really excited about, Hammer of the Gods, which is from the Magnet line of Magnolia. It's on Blu-ray. And this is just straight up. This is the new thing, right? It's all kind of Game of Thrones-y. Let's go to just medieval gore. It's a little bit like Vikings and Game of Thrones, and all these shows have gotten everybody. Spartacus to some degree. They've all. 300 certainly was one of the first to do it, but everybody's got all excited about just medieval hell. And this is a Viking thing. It takes place in the 9th century in Britain, and stars Charlie Bewley as a Viking who is on a quest to recover his brother, and then just fill in lots of fighting and fill in the words. That's how everybody talks in this movie, and lots of hammers and axes and swords and metal and just crunching thunderous, just unholy terror. Is it any good? I guess if you just like this kind of stuff. It's not really plot-oriented. It's really about a lot of testosterone and blood. And you get it. But it is an awfully good-looking Blu-ray. They really did a nice job. So bravo to the people at Magnolia, who really always do very nice Blu-ray work.
Wait, a couple quickies on DVD is the overlooked interesting film called Wish You Were Here with Joel Edgerton, Teresa Palmer, and a bunch of people and stuff and junk. I said stuff and junk.
Yes, you did.
Joel Edgerton, of course, is from Warrior and what's it called? The Box, the Square,
yes.
The Square, the Box. He's one of those Aussie finds that now is sort of
the
like
Square.
Yeah. One of those Aussie finds, kind of in mid-career now.
He and his brother.
And his brother. Don't know if I like all their choices, but I do like Wish You Were Here. This thing kind of went under the radar. It's about a couple. They go on a South Asian vacation, and somebody disappears, and you got to figure out what happened. And it's a mystery, and it's a thriller, and it's character based, so it's not just a bunch of cheap horror thrills. And this thing was good. I was really surprised. I did not expect much. Very taut, very well constructed, good performances by everybody. I liked it. And there's themes of guilt and doubt that they sort of are not afraid of because it'll be too smart and people won't be scared every single moment. Good stuff. Wish You Were Here. Also, Shadow Dancer. This is from James Marsh. Now, James Marsh is the guy who directed the documentary Man on Wire. Now, Wade, you love Man on Wire,
I think Man on Wire is a great doc.
Well,
I do.
You'd better, because if you didn't, I was going to...
No, it's a terrific film.
...yell at you until you were blue in the face.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
I know.
Anyway, Andrea Riseborough, who's this English actress who's kind of like up and coming, she is arrested. She's a member of the IRA. She's arrested in London. And Clive Owen, who has kind of fallen off the radar, I think he kind of left America. Now he kind of does these British thriller-type movies. He plays an MI5 officer who gives her a choice, difficult choice regarding either going to prison or spying on her family, and you get into that kind of stuff. It's pretty good. I think that this stuff probably could have been better directed by somebody who is more in tune with the beats of a thriller. Marsh, I think, is a great documentarian, but I still think that he might have something to learn about constructing thriller material, chase scenes, tension, narrative tension, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's still pretty good. I mean, it's really not a bad movie. I'm just saying that I wish it was directed by somebody else who really could have taken the same material and put it over the top. But it's really not bad. Shadow Dancer. So 2 overlooked films you may want to check out: Shadow Dancer and even more Wish You Were Here.
A couple of films from some...
Wait, what are we doing here? How long is this show? This show's been like an hour and a half.
It's we're not even to an hour yet.
What?
No. You hate working with me, and I hate working with you, so yeah. We've a couple of great films here from some wonderful female directors. One better than the other, but the one that I really like here is Love Is All You Need, new Suzanne Bier film. You know, Suzanne Bier has had a really interesting career. Tremendously successful Danish filmmaker. She made After the Wedding, which back in 2006 was it was an Oscar nominee, and it's just grueling, gut-wrenching, emotional, just pummels you in the face. And then she made her American English language debut, Things We Lost in the Fire. Not so great. Halle Berry, and it didn't really work. And then she went back and made, among other great films, she made In a Better World, which wound up winning Best Foreign Language Film finally for her, 2010. Great movie. And here she is. She's taken her shot once again at kind of an English language American film. It's sort of, I don't want to say it's a Hollywood film. It's not really a Hollywood film. But it's got Pierce Brosnan, and that's worth something, right? And this is a total change for her. It is not gut-wrenching, intense horror. People are dying, families falling apart. It doesn't sock you in the gut emotionally. It's a romantic comedy. Pierce Brosnan and the Danish actress Trine Dyrholm against a lovely Italian backdrop. It's just a wonderful, old-fashioned... It's a little bit like what Ridley Scott thought he was making with what was the... Thank you. What the hell are you doing with the microphone?
The microphone got caught in my glasses.
That's...
Because I'm not used to wearing glasses, so, they sometimes have a mind of their own.
Of course they do. The microphone got caught in my glasses, yeah. That's a fine
likely story.
A likely story.
The dog ate my microphone.
Anyway, it's a lovely romantic comedy, really fun. It's kind of what Ridley Scott thought he was doing with that Russell Crowe and Marion Cotillard thing. What was that
Star
called?
Wars?
No, what was that called? The Another Year, Another Season, some damn thing.
Oh, the wine thing.
Yeah, oh gosh, it was... wow, Ridley, you have a real light touch, like an anvil. And then the other one here is Mira Nair, one of my favorite directors in the world, but she just keeps kind of missing the target with a lot of these things. And she did her Amelia Earhart thing. That didn't really it's like, gosh, that could have been so good. And this is The Reluctant Fundamentalist. Riz Ahmed, Kate Hudson, Liev Schreiber, and Kiefer Sutherland in a movie that should be super, super timely. And it's about 65% there, Mira never, she's just, I don't know if she's not getting the support or if the screenplays aren't quite there, but this just tries so much to wrap its arms around the post 9/11 world and terrorism and the role of Pakistan and the CIA and all of these things, and it really tries to just drill down into all this stuff. Somehow it just gets convoluted with a little bit of kind of a soapy story. It's worth watching. I would say rent this one. It's worth watching on Blu-ray because Mira's films always have really, really good production value for very little money, but it just kind of misses the mark.
My name's Mark.
I know. And then a few things that they call comedies. I'm going to go through real quickly here that I don't think are comedies. Peoples from Tyler Perry. Not Tyler Perry as a director, just Tyler Perry Presents. This is written and directed by Tina Gordon Chisholm, and it is just really kind of dumb. Kerry Washington, who we talked about earlier in Scandal, is lovely to look at. David Alan Grier has been funnier, and Craig Robinson I still don't think is all that funny. He just keeps doing the same shtick over and over and over and over again. You can get this Blu-ray and Ultraviolet, and it's not really worth either of them. And then there's a thing called Stag, which is it's exactly what you would imagine. It's like a really lowbrow version of that old movie Bachelor Party with Tom Hanks. Kind of the same deal, except it's a little more raw, and it's one of those things that Donald Faison keeps doing. He's doing lots of this straight-to-video stuff that just is not going to help his career very much. Desperate Acts of Magic, a little low-budget film with people who can't act. I reviewed this for radio, and this is being self-distributed by these people. I admire the hell out of them for actually getting this movie made, but these people can't act. It's basically about a guy who wants to be a magician. He has a dream of being a magician, and he chases that dream. And then there's a magician woman who's a bit of a con woman. They're on again, off again relationship, and then this competition to be the great magician that he and the woman wind up in when they're on and off. It's just, oh my gosh, really? Being a magician is not that interesting. And if you had people who could act, it might be a little more interesting. It's an admirable independent film that they actually got this thing made, but you know what? You gotta just having people who can do magic doesn't make a movie. You gotta actually have people who can act. That's better magic. And then here is a movie, unrated edition of Porn Shoot Massacre.
Yeah.
Mark, do I really need to say any more?
Awesome.
Let me read you the tagline on the back. 7 unlucky adult film stars are about to switch genres from porn to gore. Will any of them make it out alive? Do I even need to give you a plot of what this thing's about?
Yes, you do.
It's so bad. It's really bad, and it's really funny.
We need to have.
If you have a guilty pleasure, if you're yearning for a guilty pleasure, that might be a good one.
Next week, a dramatic reading of the script.
Yes.
I don't know if we're going to end on this. I hope we do because I'm hungry.
Okay.
Anyway, Online is it's one of those Christian-based stories that gets gets thumbs up from like the Dove Foundation. It's about this guy, happily married, and he logs on to Facebook or some social networking site, and he winds up rekindling a relationship with a past romance. So it becomes he's happily married, but he's tempted by this past romance, and of course he turns to God to help him decide what to do. And of course, God tells him to dump his wife and kill her, and then have a dirty, filthy sex with the past flame. It's amazing. It's an unbelievable story. It's not the way you thought it was going to go. You see, you thought that in a Christian-based film signed off on by the Dove Foundation, that the guy would eventually turn to God. God would tell him, you need to covet your wife and you need to forget this past relationship. Not true. God tells him to kill the wife and run away with the past relationship. It's a really interesting movie. I really think that it's incredible how that happened.
The Dove Foundation, they gave their seal of approval to Porn Shoot Massacre as well. They did. So they're being a lot more progressive in their thinking these days.
I'm all turned around about the Dove Foundation.
I know, right? They just when you think. They turn around and surprise you. Here's what we're going to end on, Mark. We got a couple of movies. One is a box set. A couple of things. We're going to talk more about the one box set, obviously, when the holiday show rolls around, because this is going to be prime there. Good holiday viewing. The complete Blu-ray collection of Friday the 13th. Yeah, baby. 12 films of terror. That's right. So you get all 12, and when I say all 12, I mean all 12 of the Friday the 13th movies. Can you believe it? Gosh, I mean, it includes even the new Friday the 13th, by the way. The 2009 one is included. Freddy vs. Jason, Jason X, Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday, Jason 13th, Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, The New Blood, which, by the way, The New Blood, you know what, Corey Feldman, could we just talk for a second about Corey Feldman?
If you like.
Because remember, Corey Feldman was in, what was it? Was it in Part 6, Jason Lives, or New Beginning? Maybe it's The New Beginning. Final Chapter, New Beginning. It's one of those. He's in one of those where he becomes like the new Jason or whatever at the end. He shaves his head. Did you read the thing that I posted about his freaking lingerie party?
I did not.
Oh my gosh. It truly outrageous. He had a lingerie party, invited a journalist from one of these online rags, and the guy shows up and does a write-up, which he didn't like, and then it explodes into this cyber war, and this flame war through Twitter, and then the writer sends a press release out, and I get a press release about I will not be cyber-bullied by Corey Feldman. Strangest press release I've ever gotten. Utterly bizarre.
He wants his moment in the sun. He's trying to milk it.
Really sad. Anyway, so Friday the 13th, complete collection, 12 films on Blu-ray, every film that has ever had Jason Voorhees in it, and it's kind of an achievement because they had to get multiple studios working together on this, namely Paramount and Warner Brothers via New Line, and there were a lot of strings to pull, clearly, as far as rights and who gets what participation. But son of a gun, they did it. They pulled it off. So the complete Blu-ray collection of every single Friday the 13th movie ever. You will have a wonderful holiday marathon with that thing. We will cover that more a little bit in depth when the gift guide show comes around. And then lastly, Criterion. Can't be a great week without a great Criterion from 1965. The wonderful, fantastic The Spy Who Came In From the Cold. This may be the best spy movie ever made, just because it is so psychological. It's based on a John le Carré novel, and it is a really, really great film. Maybe the most unusual film that Martin Ritt ever directed. Martin Ritt, of course, was basically known for doing kind of, a very earthy, rural American stories. And Norma Ray, and
Murphy's Romance.
HUD.
HUD.
With Paul Newman. That's what he did. But this is a really unconventional film for him, and you gotta really give him props. He just went off on a totally different direction, and he nailed it. Really a fascinating film, very much of its era, very much a Cold War story, but it is really, really beautifully done. Magnificent black and white photography, and just riveting performance from Richard Burton, and great supporting performances from Claire Bloom and Oscar Werner. Really good stuff. A lot of fantastic extras here. There's a scene-by-scene kind of intermittent commentary with director of photography Oswald Morris, one of the all-time greats. And then a 2000 BBC documentary on John le Carré called The Secret Center, as well as a fascinating interview with Richard Burton from 1967 on the BBC show Acting in the 60s. Just great stuff all the way through. So you can't miss this. The Spy Who Came In From the Cold, first rate. So with that, we're wrapping up the show, and Mark has gone away. He's gone away to eat a scone. Do we have an outro that you wanted to try and?
I didn't know I was vice president of outros.
Well, I don't know. Give me an outro. Give me something.
Hang on. I'm going to give you something.
Okay.
You ready? Here it is.
Ready. Yeah.
The outro this week is going to be a little thing we like to call. This comes to us from Joseph R. Thornton. Ladies and gentlemen, here's cooking at you, kid.